In 1893, out of pure idealism and devotion to his late friend, the French painter Émile Bernard began publishing serialized excerpts of Vincent van Gogh's personal letters in the avant-garde journal Mercure de France. But 15 years later, the legendary Parisian art dealer and publisher Ambroise Vollard realized the moment had come to crown Bernard's preliminary work with a monumental standalone publication. On January 25, 1910, Vollard drew up a historic contract. For the sum of 2,000 francs, Bernard sold the publication rights to Vincent's original manuscripts for 6 years, agreeing that the book would be sold for at least 10 francs. By January 1912, Vollard made a final additional payment of 840 francs, cementing the release of Lettres de Vincent van Gogh à Émile Bernard, the very first dedicated book edition of Vincent's letters ever printed. The design of the book was conceived strictly for the high-end bibliophile market. It boasted generous typography, wide margins, 100 detailed black and white plates reproducing Van Gogh's drawings and letter sketches, and 2 stunning full-color or text reproductions, including his iconic self-portrait in a straw hat and La Berceuse. The balance of the book was remarkable. While just over 80 pages contained Vincent's actual letters, 70 pages were reserved for introductory matter, including a 43-page preface by Bernard and 4 of his earlier critical essays. Behind the scenes, the editing process was fraught with controversy. While Bernard claimed to present Vincent's raw French and passionate tone uncensored, the text was quietly expurgated with initials and dots to protect names, partly at Vollard's personal insistence to avoid offending contemporaries like Edgar Degas. To crown this achievement, Vollard commissioned an ultra-exclusive luxury tirage de tête. Exactly 40 copies, and 40 copies only, were printed on heavy, fibrous, handcrafted papier japon. Fast forward to the modern day, where such a rare artifact encounters the blind spots of the contemporary auction world. When submitted to digital platforms like Katawiki, online appraisers glance at digital photos and swiftly reduce it to an €80 trade copy, simply because it lacks a handwritten numbering from 1 to 40, failing to recognize that the colophon text itself confirms the prestigious edition and that the material reality is genuine Japanese paper. On the other end of the spectrum, mega houses like Christie's turn it away solely because its auction value, typically ranging between 1 and several thousand euros, sits below their rigid €10,000 consignment threshold. Yet the historical truth remains undeniable. Documented explicitly by the Van Gogh Museum's Van Gogh Letters project, these 40 copies on Japanese paper represent an absolute pinnacle in the literature of modern art. Encased in its period half-leather binding, this volume is not a common reading copy, but one of 40 surviving tactile relics preserving the intimate dialogue that redefined modern painting.